Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and, frankly, a pretty uncomfortable reality. Across basically every sector right now, organizations are just pouring money into AI tools, and they're all promising the exact same thing, to make our jobs easier. So why is it that this AI-driven efficiency is somehow making us busier and honestly more exhausted than ever before? Well, let's unpack the data and figure it out.
All right, let's just jump right into this paradox, because on paper, things look great. Studies consistently show that artificial intelligence drastically reduces task completion times. Drafting is faster, information is super easy to access, meetings are summarized in an absolute snap. Yet workers are exhausted. Their output has undeniably increased, but so has the sheer intensity of their day. Workflow's faster, sure, but those little pauses we used to have, they're completely disappearing. So if AI is supposedly doing all the heavy lifting, why doesn't work actually feel any easier?
That brings us to Section 1, the AI productivity paradox.
Here is the crucial point. The lived experience for most of us is way more complicated than the initial promise. Now, the promise was that technology automates tasks to free up time for things that matter. But the reality? While an AI can totally draft a 10-page report for you in minutes rather than hours, that incredible speed comes with consequences. Mainly, it invites immediate follow-up requests. The moment your boss realizes you can turn things around instantly, what initially felt like this massive, amazing gain in efficiency rapidly solidifies into a permanently elevated expectation of your daily output.
There's a quote that I think absolutely hits the nail on the head for our investigation today. The productivity is real, but the relief is elusive. We are undeniably getting a whole lot more done, but that actual feeling of relief, it's just not there.
Let's look at why that happens in Section 2. Faster work resets expectations. We really need to talk about a concept called normalization. And what's fascinating and kind of scary about this is how it happens so gradually, flying entirely under the radar. When a task goes from taking, say, 2 days down to just 2 hours, nobody officially announces that you need to start working harder, right? There's no big new explicit company policy. Instead, meetings just subtly move forward on the calendar. Deadlines tighten up simply because the capacity has increased. The whole organization just unconsciously adapts to this new, much faster, tighter rhythm.
And if we actually look back at history, this shouldn't surprise us at all. We see a very clear, repeating behavioral pattern where technological advances increase overall activity rather than reduce it. Back in the 1990s, email made sending messages practically effortless. So what did? We sent thousands more of them. Then in the 2000s, smartphones untethered us from our desks, but they also made us available 24/7. Now in the 2020s, AI is following that exact same historical track, but we're seeing it on a much larger scale.
Which brings us to Section 3, how AI increases demand.
Think about how things used to be. Historically, producing a complex report or a briefing required a lot of manual friction. We're talking staff time, specialist expertise, really deep, focused analysis. Well, AI comes in and just removes all those constraints. And because producing information is suddenly incredibly cheap and easy, the volume of organizational output absolutely skyrockets. So the result is that the new bottleneck in our workday isn't creation anymore, it's human attention.
We call this the information expansion effect. Let me put it into perspective for you. Say AI saves you 10 minutes generating a quick draft. Awesome, right? But that 10-minute saving for one person can instantly create an hour of additional reading for the 5 colleagues who now have to review that document. So the real paradox here is that productivity improvements decrease the effort at the individual task level, but they drastically multiply the workload across the entire system.
And that systemic overload brings us to Section 4, the death of downtime.
Work isn't just checking off a list of tasks, it's a rhythm. Historically, waiting for a colleague's input or even just staring at a 10-minute loading bar on your computer gave us these natural, built-in moments of transition and cognitive recovery. AI effectively wipes out those delays. And look, while that seems operationally brilliant on a spreadsheet, humans aren't servers. We actually rely on those quiet, in-between moments for judgment, for creativity, for learning and problem-solving. Filling every single newly available moment just creates this unrelenting, continuous stream of cognitive demand.
This creates a massive risk for organizational culture, because organizations can very easily measure how fast an email is answered or how quickly a report is generated. They risk rewarding performative responsiveness. Picture a manager who gets a near-instant AI briefing.
They might genuinely wonder why the human analysis part takes so much longer. The real danger here is valuing fast exchanges over the deeper, totally invisible reflection that actually leads to effective decision-making.
So, what are we doing with our time now? Let's jump to Section 5, the rise of invisible work.
We are actually in the middle of a huge shift. We're moving away from being just producers of information to becoming stewards of information quality. Think of a lawyer reviewing an AI-generated contract, or a software developer double-checking AI syntax. Instead of drafting everything from scratch, modern knowledge workers are now spending up to 70% of their time validating sources, checking AI outputs, and ensuring accountability. It's like a giant puzzle where you have to make sure every piece actually fits. This requires immense and often totally invisible effort to maintain trust and safety, especially in high-stakes environments where these decisions affect actual patients, customers, or finances.
Because of this, productivity gains absolutely shouldn't just be measured by task speed anymore. Organizations must recognize and value this newly redistributed effort. They cannot just falsely assume that automation has simply magically removed the work entirely. No way. Some of that capacity released by AI simply has to be actively reinvested into maintaining trust, judgment, and accuracy.
So, how do we fix it? That's our final section. Section 6, Designing AI for Relief. We have to remember a fundamental truth here. Productivity has absolutely no intrinsic value on its own. Saving time literally only matters if that saved time is used in ways that create meaningful outcomes. So if we want AI to actually improve our work lives, we must deliberately design it to provide relief, rather than just extracting more and more output from already exhausted employees.
This is where intentional leadership is absolutely crucial. If leaders do not explicitly protect the capacity that AI releases, the surrounding system will just unconsciously consume it. It's going to become fuel for even further acceleration through rising standards and brand new demands. Intentional AI adoption means making a conscious, deliberate choice. It's about taking those efficiency gains and directing them toward better outcomes, more sustainable workloads, and actually giving staff greater autonomy and control over their working lives.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to take back to your own workflows. The real test of AI isn't just about the hours saved. It's a measure of the human experience. If every single minute that AI saves you is immediately reclaimed by the system for just another task, well, it's never going to feel like progress. It will only ever feel like acceleration. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope this helps you navigate the true impact of AI on your workday.